Hello and welcome to another SketchUp Pro 2015 tutorial on how to make a 8 by 8 foot 2 by 4 wall construction. So we're going to start off by just double clicking on SketchUp Pro 2015 on your desktop, or you can get it from Start All Programs, or possibly if it's down here on your taskbar. I already have mine open. Then we are going to go File, Open, and I'm going to open up a finished version. So in Student Common, Assignments, Computers, go to the bottom, near the bottom for SketchUp Pro, or right on the bottom, and then Construction. And we're going to open up 2 by 4 wall construction template, and I'm going to open up a finished version of it. Now, one of the things that you could start this from scratch, but I made a template just because I've got all these camera views made for you, and they're really handy. So that's the top. This is the left side view, and you can click on the H key or just grab the hand tool. Look at it from the side. There's the right side view. Again, you can use the hand tool to move it, and scrolling in with your mouse scroller is very handy. Then the ISO view is kind of an angled view. There's the bottom view, and then the front and the back. Now, so moving around, you can use the hand tool, the zoom tool, but you don't really ever use the zoom tool because you can use the scroller on your mouse to be able to do that. You can use the orbit tool, which does a lot of things. So you can look at it from different angles. So some people don't use these camera views as much as I do. Some people like just using the orbit tool. But when you're not good at it at first, these are really handy. I'm just going to grab the back view, go to the hand tool, move it down, and zoom it out a little bit. So I'm going to talk a little bit about construction. So this big sheet in the back is a sheet of plywood, and it is 4 feet by 8 feet. And so I've got 2 of them to make it an 8 foot by 8 foot wall. It's got a bottom or a sill plate, and it's got 2 top plates on a wall, which is kind of standard. And each of these studs is 16 inches apart, except for the 2 outside ones, because if a wall is finishing, you have to move it into 15 1/4 to make it there. And it's a bit confusing at first, but the reason it's 15 1/4 is because we call this 16 inches on center, and this 2 by 4 meets the edge of the plywood. So the one 2 by 4 that meets the edge of the plywood must be in, and if we had a continuous wall, this one would be continuously 16 inches apart. But we'll show you how to set that up with the blank one. So then I'm just going to orbit around a little bit more, and you can always check. You can see that this plywood is 3/4 of an inch wide, and that's the other thing you need to know about construction. 2 by 4s. 2 by 4s are not actually 2 inches by 4 inches. They're actually 3.5 inches by 1.5 inches wide. So that's something that we'll have to really pay attention to. Anyways, let's get started on the original, or the blank one. So I'm going to go File, Open, and again I'm going to go Student Common, Assignments, Computers, SketchUp Pro, Construction. And I'm going to start off with the template. The template is blank, and we are going to start off by drawing a rectangle. So we use the shapes. If the shape isn't showing that you need, they're underneath. So I'm going to grab a shape. So I'm just going to start down here, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. I'm going to let go, and you'll notice on the bottom right over here it says how big it is. but that's not perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in 8, and I'm going to give the feet sign, which is like the apostrophe, then comma for the second dimension, and 4 and apostrophe. And then I'm going to hit enter, and you'll notice it resizes it. Then I'm going to take the black arrow tool to select it. Then I'm going to go to the mover tool, and I'm going to grab an endpoint, and I'm going to drag it so it fits perfectly in there. So now I got a 4x8 sheet, but it is paper thin. We need to make it 3/4 of an inch thick, because that's a really strong plywood. So we're going to go with 3/4. Now for this, I'm going to orbit a little bit. So I'm going to drag it to the side a little bit so you can see when I pull it out. And then I'm going to use this tool called the push-pull tool. And I'm going to pull it out, and see that gave it a third dimension. And if you look on the bottom right, it says 3 1/16. That's way too thick. So I'm going to either write 0.75 for 3/4 or 3/4, and on the keyboard inches is the quotation mark. So it's above the apostrophe. So you go shift apostrophe and then hit enter, and you'll notice it say 3/4. Then I'm going to triple click to select the entire thing, and I'm going to make it a group. This is really important. And then I'm going to grab the paint bucket, and I'll select wood down here, and then wood plywood with knots, and I'll click on it so it looks like plywood. Now the good thing is we don't have to draw 2 of these. So I'm going to first select it, but I already have it selected, so that's black arrow tool to select. And I'm going to grab the mover tool, and I'm going to take this endpoint. Now if I grab an endpoint, it'll move it and it snaps to the lines like we want it. But I want to copy it. So when I click, if I just hit the control key once, it copies it. And then you can see it's going to snap since I'm grabbing that endpoint. And then I click so it sticks. And then I'm going to go back to my front view, and I might go to my right view so you can see that it's on this edge that it's grabbing. So on this edge I'm going to make a 2x4. So I'll just go back to the front, and when I make my 2x4, so I'm going to grab my shape tool, the rectangle tool again, I'm going to type 8 feet, comma 1.5 inches, then I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to take my black arrow tool to select. I'm going to rotate a little bit. I'm going to grab my push-pull, and I'm going to pull it out. And I'm going to pull it out for 3.5 inches. And you'll notice it says 3.5 inches down here, and then I hit enter. Then I take my black arrow tool and I triple click to go right click, make group. Then I'm going to go to the right, so then I can take that, and I'll take the mover tool. Now here's an interesting thing. I want it to match up on this green line, so I'm going to grab this bottom corner, not the top corner, and that way we can make it snap right to the edge of the plywood and to the edge there. Now let's go see it from a different view and see if it looks the way it's supposed to look. I'm going to take my paint bucket, and I'm going to click on that, close that, and it looks perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the right again, And I'm going to, it's already selected, so if it wasn't, I would select it with a black arrow. Now I grab the mover tool, and again, I want to copy it just like I did with the plywood. So I'm going to click on that bottom corner, and I'm going to hold the control key down once and see how it duplicates it. And I'm just going to hold up until it gets all the way to the top. And then I'm going to put one here. Now, see, notice it was harder to snap, so I'm going to grab this top point so then it can snap to there. Then I'm going to take another one because they have two with the control key clicked once. I can grab, and there I grab a second one. So now, if I look again to check on my work, it's looking good. Zoom out, grab the hand tool quick to move it over, zoom out some more, and there you go. Starting to look good. I'm just going to go to Window Scenes, and I'm going to update this scene. So now when I hit back, it'll be saved there better. Now I need my vertical studs. Now the vertical studs aren't going to be exactly 8 feet long, but we can use these to copy where we're going to have to modify it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the control key, grab the mover tool, hold the control key down, or just click on the control key once after. And there it gives me another one. Now we're going to rotate this thing so that it runs vertical. And if you put your mouse over on the move tool, it gives these things. See these little hot points? And that allows you, the rotate thing comes up. You don't have to choose the rotate button. You can just go here and you click and you drag, and just like the same thing in the bottom right, it'll tell you when it hits 90. It even snaps there. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to be smart and grab an end point. And then I'm going to have to rotate to the side to make sure that 3D is on the right level. So I'll orbit, and it looks like it's perfect. But now I have to shorten this. Now logic might say just use the push-pull tool, but because it's grouped, it won't let you change it until you get inside the group. So you take your black arrow tool, you double click it, and then you take your push-pull, and you really kind of got to zoom in on it to actually be able to see where it is. So then I'm going to grab the push-pull tool, and now you can see it's highlighted when I go over top of it. And then we can rotate again with the orbit tool to make sure it looks good. And it looks like it's all in the right place. Now, I'm going to go back to the back position. Now, you'll notice it's not colored like before, so I'm going to go and black arrow tool and double click outside of the group, and it brings me back to normal. Now, we have to copy this, so we're going to use that same technique, black arrow tool. Go to the mover tool, click on that edge, click on the end point, click the control key once, start to move it while you're clicking it, and then you'll notice it goes 10 inches. So I'm going to write 15.25 inches, and then I'm going to hit enter, and you'll notice it jumps. Now this is the tricky part. Why is it 15.25? Because this 2x4 should be normally halfway on the edge of the plywood, because to be 16 inches on center, because this one is 16 inches from the edge of the plywood. You only go 15 1/4 to be half. And why is it 0.75 away? Because it's half the width of a 2x4, which is 1.5. Now let's copy the next one. I'll click on it, start to move it, hit the control key, and I'll move, and I'll type, and I'm going to type 16 shift inches, and I'm going to hit enter. And to make this happen 5 more times, I just go immediately 5 and times, and I hit enter. And if I zoom out, you'll notice it put them all in for me. So now you'll notice, because this one is not got an edge on it, and we actually might leave this, or we could move it in. We might leave it because if we add more of these on, that it will make sense that it'll just continue to add them together. So that is how you make a 2x4 wall construction. You could possibly bring this one over to the edge or move it, depending on what we're doing. SketchUp Pro 2015, making a 2x4 wall construction with a sill plate and a double top plate with 16-inch on center, using 2x4s, which are actually 1.5 centimeters times 3.5 centimeters, and they're standard 8-foot long ones, but these ones we had to cut shorter to make them fit. Thanks for watching.